record. Did you hear that? We're recording now. I'm so sorry. I do always forget to do that, but we are recording just for internal purposes. Sometimes kids also, if you ever miss a workshop that you're like, oh, I wanted to hear that topic, I thought that that would be helpful for me, email me and I can send you the link to the recordings that you can watch it later if it's something that you were really wanting to hear. So where was I? Keep yourself muted unless you have a question. Oh, if you want it to be a private question, feel free to chat box me and I will ask Robin for you so that you don't have to. So I'm going to mute myself and turn it over to Miss Robin. And thank you so much for being here tonight, Miss Robin, and for your time and sharing with us. I'm excited.
Thank you for having me. Can everybody hear me? Can you give me a thumbs up if you can hear me? I feel like that is the question of 2020, now that we've entered Zoom world, is can you hear me? And you are on mute. So hi guys, hi friends, all your smiling faces. Everybody looks so good. I almost said girls because there's so many girls, but I see some gentlemen. Hello gentlemen, how are you? Like Sandy said, my name is Robin. My last name is exactly like it sounds, is Turnipseed. The first question that you're asking yourself is that really her last name? And yes, it is. It is my last name. My mother always said that I should write, or my grandmother always said I should write children's book because with a name like Turnipseed, what else are you gonna do? But it's amazing. You could actually do a lot with it. So all that being said, I just wanted to thank you for the opportunity to be here and spend a little time with you guys tonight. I am going to be tackling the topic of time management and just kind of managing ourselves in general. So let me give you a little background about myself. I'm not going to tell my age because that would be ridiculous. Nobody asked, and I'm not going to tell if nobody asks. And so we'll just say that I am a mother of two. I have a teenager. I'm so sorry. People keep walking in the room and distracting me. Hello. I have a teenager and I have an 8-year-old daughter. So I'm a mother of two. I'm also an entrepreneur. I also run my husband and I run a couple businesses. We own a couple of properties. I also write on the side. I have a website called Placement of Pretty Things. And then I also am a homeschool mom. I guess as of June, I'm no longer a homeschool mom because my children will be attending private school next year, but I've done that for all my life. And I have a background in education. I was a high school teacher many, many moons ago and loved that. So I kind of, like, you guys are my people. Like, I feel very comfortable with this age group, like we can hang out. So that being said, I want to go ahead and just tackle a couple things tonight as far as getting a little organized. Now, I know it's going to be really odd because I am talking to you on June 1st. You don't have school or anything ahead of you right now. Your calendar is full. So you are like, this is absolutely ridiculous. Why do I even need this? Because, dear sweet friends, your calendars will book up in like 2 months. So what we're going to do is we're going to work on just some life skills and a skill set now that when August slaps you in the face, you're going to be able to encounter it like wide open. Like, you're going to know what to do. You're going to have that skill set ready for you. So let's go ahead and get started. I wasn't going to do a PowerPoint, but then I started to do it and I got really pulled into like graphics. So just bear with me. So I'm going to share my screen. But tonight we're going to talk about time management, and we're going to talk about it through eating frogs and creating good habits. You're going to say that is the craziest thing I've ever heard. Well, it's because I got it through 2 books. The first one, and I'm going to recommend them to anybody who, not that you would be looking for summer reading, because I'm sure you're going to get it from schools or different places like that. But if you have downtime and you're like, maybe I should pick up a book, I'm going to recommend a couple of them. The first one is Eat That Frog, and it's by Brian Tracy. We're going to go over the concepts tonight, but this other one is so good, and it's The 7 Habits of Highly Effective Teens, and it's by Sean Covey. So these are really good. At some point down the road, you may want to reference them later. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to share my screen. That is what I'm hoping to do. We're going to see if it works. Let's see. Okay. Can everybody see that? I got a thumbs up. If I got 1 thumbs up, we're going to roll with it. Okay, dokie. So first and foremost, tonight we're talking about time management. Couple of quotes: either run the day or the day runs you. Your future is created by what you do today and not tomorrow, because we have to realize that today really does matter. Like we sometimes, I don't know if you guys ever do this, but sometimes like your days happen to you. Like maybe you get to the end of the day and you go, oh, wow, I did nothing today. Or how did I lose 8 hours? Like, I feel like 2020, we're like, how did we lose a year? Like, I feel like sometimes like those days kind of happen, and it's okay. It's okay to occasionally have a day where there's maybe nothing on the schedule or there's nothing going on. What you may not want to have happen are those days building on each other. Like you don't want a week to go by and you turn around and go, oh, I just lost a week of time. So we want to make sure that we are being as effective with our time as possible. So there are so many, I've put down this, like there are so many things and amazing things to accomplish, but like, I'm sure like I have, especially when I was even younger, I had like a whole list of things I wanted to do. I had a list of dreams, as cheesy as that may sound, but a list of dreams and goals and different things like that. But if we don't know how to manage our time, which is basically learning how to manage ourselves, then nothing is going to be accomplished. So William Penn says, time is what we want most and what we use worst. And it is also, it's the thing that we can't create the more of. Like when you run out, you run out. So we're just going to focus on how to streamline our time and our habits a little bit better. So let's go to Eat That Frog. Here are these books that, and I saw somebody put them in the chat. I think Sandy put them in the chat. Miss Sandy put them in the chat. Okay. So these are the two books. So the one thing is talking about Eat That Frog. It's been said for many years that if the first thing you have to do each morning is to eat a frog, a live frog, you can go through the day with the satisfaction of knowing that is probably the worst thing that you're going to have to do today, or it's the first thing that's going to happen to you all day long. So your frog is your biggest, most important task. It is the thing on your to-do list that you have been putting off and you have been procrastinating on it for a long time. Like every day you start and you're thinking, oh, that's the thing I need to get accomplished. Like that's one of the things, like but it's a big job and you don't want to start it. Right now, as I'm saying these things, you have something probably running through your head. You're like, there's a basket of laundry sitting on my couch that I need to put away, that that has been sitting there for the last week and I don't have anything clean in my drawers. So I need to make sure I put that away. So like, those are the things. Like they've not taken them off your to-do list, so they just keep rolling over and rolling over. So those are your frogs. Those are also the ones that'll have the most important like impact on your life right now. And I'm going to refer back to this a lot tonight, is summer reading. Like I know that my kids have a summer reading list. What they want to do is they want to wait until August 1st to start that reading list. Well, that's not going to work. So like we have to figure out like what our frog is, and I'm going to help you figure that out as the night goes on, and how to break him down into bite-sized pieces so that you're able to accomplish those things. So just to keep that in the back of your mind, that is your frog. Okay. It's also been said that if you have to eat 2 frogs, eat the ugliest first. Now, do the hardest, most difficult task first. Working out, writing the term paper, summer reading, making a challenging phone call, speaking with a professor, or confronting a friend. Like using this, and we're going to talk about how to use how to use this method to manage our time, but is the thing that we don't want to do. I will be honest with you. I know that working out is good for me. It really does help me think better. It helps everything just work better. Is it what I want to do first thing when I get up in the morning? No, honestly, I want to lie on the couch and not ever put on my running shoes. But that's I have 2 frogs, working out and like loading my dishwasher. These are my 2 frogs. Which one is the ugliest one? Which one do I not want to do the most? I gotta be honest, I don't want to work out. So I'm going to do that one first, so that when I get that one out of the way, then I load up my dishwasher or do whatever my second ugliest frog is, the lesser of the 2 ugly frogs. Then I have the rest of the day to do all the easy stuff. What often happens is when people start on their to-do list, what they do is they do the easy stuff first. Well, all that does is push the hardest task further down the list. So you either don't get them done or accomplish that day, or they roll over to the next day and it goes weeks and weeks and weeks go by and you've not done those hard things. You've not started that history term paper. You've not started, like going back to the summary, you've not started those books, you've not done whatever. And then all of a sudden you've run out of time and you're working from a panic state. So we want to try to avoid that. So how to use this method to manage our time. Okay, so we're going to do very practical tips tonight. I'm basically going to kind of teach you how to run and use a calendar. You probably already know how to do this, but just bear with me. Again, ever felt like you've lost a day or it slipped away and it was because nothing was planned? You might not have put anything on your schedule. Time management is about learning to manage yourself and your habits. Learn to manage what you do on a daily basis, and you're going to suddenly find yourself with way more time. Practical tips for time management, managing your time. Number one, plan every day in advance. Do it the night before. Some of you guys may already do this. And if you already do this, you are ahead of the game, and that's amazing. I don't think I learned how to do this. I think maybe towards the end of high school, maybe I started to do this because I was in some upper level classes. But then when I got to college, I had a teacher or a professor who really taught me how to do this. And it was very, very helpful. So the earlier you can get started on this, the better. But plan every day in advance. Do it the night before. Block out time for your big rocks. Does anybody know what I mean when I say big rocks? Okay, I'm going to tell you. So your big rocks, there's an experiment called the Big Rock Experiment. So I'm just going to read it to you. Your big rocks are your priorities. So you get a bucket and you fill it half full of small pebbles. You then try to put several rocks in the bucket, several big rocks in the bucket on top of the pebbles. They don't all fit. So you empty the bucket and start over. This time you put the big rocks in the bucket first, followed by the pebbles. The pebbles neatly fill in the space around the big rocks. This time it all fits. The difference is the order in which the rocks and pebbles were all placed in the bucket. If you put the pebbles in first, the big rocks don't all fit. But if you put the big rocks in first, everything fits. Big rocks and pebbles. Big rocks represent your most important things. Pebbles represent all the little everyday things that suck up time, such as chores, busy work, phone calls, and interruptions. The moral of the story is if you don't schedule your big rocks in first, that they won't get done. Okay. So your big rocks, they may differ from your ugliest frog, and we'll get to that in a minute. So we're going to talk about like block out time for your big rocks. So when you set up your calendar, and I will kind of walk you through this in a minute, but when what you'll do is you'll start the night before, you'll write down a to-do list. On that to-do list, you're going to write down your priorities for the next day. Sometimes it's sometimes it's a phone call. Sometimes it's a meeting like this, like this today. I knew because this was at 7 o'clock that I needed to be here sitting in front of my computer at 7 o'clock. That was a big rock. That was not my ugliest frog workout like that was done earlier today to get out of the way. This was just something that was already on the schedule. It was a priority. It was scheduled. I had a deadline. It was my big rock. So what I did last night is when I sat down to make out my calendar, actually has been on for months, but I made sure to write down for today that at 7 o'clock, I had this call. And then I actually even took a yellow highlighter and highlighted it because I highlight all my big rocks in yellow in my planner. So, and also we'll get back to that in a second. But the next thing is do the things tonight that your tomorrow self will thank you for. Some of you guys already do this. Set out, but if you don't, let me encourage you, set out your clothes, your workout wear, anything that you need to do like the next day, like you're able to get up, you're able to get dressed, you know what to do. The time doesn't pass by as you're standing in front of a closet or drawers trying to figure out what to wear. Pack your bag, your lunch, your backpack. I don't, you guys are probably too young to drink coffee in here, but set up your coffee maker, set out your breakfast, like do the things tonight that your tomorrow self will thank you for. Okay, next step. Step number 2, think on paper, or because I like to refer to myself as not old, I like to say that I'm vintage or classic. I use paper. All the young people on here, whatever your version of paper is, it might be the lists app on your phone, which I like to use that as well, or the notes app. But I encourage you to write it down somewhere. Do not keep it in your brain thinking that you're going to remember your to-do list. You may not, and then, or something very important will not be left off, will be off that list. So you're gonna wanna go ahead and every night just make a list of the things that you have to do the next day and put it in some type of tangible form. When you write things down, you crystallize it, puts it in tangible form. So when you write it down, again, what I said before, you're going to go ahead and schedule your rocks first, your top priorities. Again, making a call, starting a report, working out, whatever your top priorities are, anything that has a deadline or an appointment time, anything that you've committed to, something that you may have like that maybe on the schedule that's very, very important. Like as soon as we get off this call, I also write. So I have something to do to my editor tonight. So like I will get off this call and I'll make sure that because it was committed, I have a block of time that I've sectioned out for me to work as soon as I get off this call to make sure that I take care of that commitment. So that goes on your schedule first. So your appointment times, different things like that. That's the first thing on there. Next, eat your ugliest frog. This is when you look at your to-do list. You've already put down your priorities and your appointments. When you start back to school, your rocks will be from 8 to 3, or whenever you go to school, those will be your priorities. Those will be your rocks. Everything else, when you get home, will be usually your frogs, your ugliest frogs. So like I've already set up my schedule with all my appointments. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to fill in the blanks and fill in the time with the things that I maybe need to do and need to get accomplished, but then also my fun things that I want to do. So you're going to eat your ugliest frog. So that's how you do your schedule. When you are done that day, you're going to cross off your completed tasks. Nothing feels better than crossing off stuff off your to-do list. It feels absolutely amazing. Do not leave it on there. Make sure you cross it off. And then what you do is the stuff you didn't cross off, you're going to go ahead and move it to the next day's list. Okay. Do we have any questions as I'm going through this right now before I flip my page? I know it's a lot. It's a lot of info. Nobody? Okay. Everybody's nodding. Okay. Let's see. Like I said, I like to keep a color-coded calendar. Like I like to keep a list there where everything is, if it's really, really high priority, I highlight it in yellow. If it's something where like maybe it's the last thing I need to do, but I really kind of want to do it and it's something fun. Blue is my favorite color, so I might highlight it in blue. Like I just kind of highlight things according to how I want them to go and how I want my day to run. So number 3, set a deadline on major items on your list. Okay. If you're at school and you are given a school, like a paper that's due, your research paper is due, and your research paper is due, say it's January and it's due in April. Like, April 30th, my research paper is due. So you don't have to worry about that. You already have a deadline set on that. If you don't have deadlines on certain projects that you might want to work on, then you're going to need to go ahead and give yourself a deadline on that. Here's what I mean by that. Who drives in here? I can't see everybody on there. We've got a couple of people. Okay. So there's a few people that have cars. Okay. What about closets? You guys have clean, perfect closets? You got messy closets? Somebody got messy closets? Raise your hand if you're a co-messy closet owner. Okay. Got a couple messy closets. Okay. So say you want to clean out your closets or your car. That is not like, well, first off, cleaning out my car, I despise it. So that is an ugly frog. If I don't give it a due date on it, if I don't say, okay, listen, I'm going out of town tomorrow, that has to be done before I leave town, then it's not going to get done. So if your closet's messy, listen, I don't want to start a school year with a messy closet. So by August 1, that needs to be cleaned. So like all of those projects that you're thinking of, like you need to give those a due date. Then you need to create some type of reward. Like if you clean out your car, then, something fun will come from that, like a fun thing that you're going to do, or, a movie night or something like that, something fun to create a reward so that you will get the job done, whatever that needs to be. Number 4, make a list of each step needed to achieve the goal of eating the ugly frog. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and break this down, and I'm going to use the summer reading list. My children got a summer reading list. They each have to read 2 books apiece. I don't remember summer, I said I was vintage. Like, I don't remember summer reading lists, and you guys might not have had them. Maybe I just didn't do them. Maybe I just didn't. That was probably it. I'm sure the paper came home and I threw it away, but I get done. Anyway, so they each have 2 books. My son, who is going to be a freshman in high school this year, his 2 books, they each have 12 chapters apiece. So we broke it down. So we know, because he is not looking forward to that, that is his Ugly Frog this summer, those 2 books. So I know, because and nobody's really going to want to sit down and read a book in one sitting. And what you're not going to want to do is wait till the week before and try to read it all then. So we're going to break it down into practical bite-sized pieces. So we have 2 books. There are 12 chapters each. So what I know from making a number 4, I know that you have 2 months of summer basically left, because I'm not making him start until June. So we got all of June. Well, today is June, tonight. All of June and all of July. So he has 2 months of summer. So he needs to read a book a month. So we're going to break it down into like that. Okay. That's we've kind of taken it from a humongous, we'll just say from a humongous frog, and we've kind of lowered it down. Okay. Well, that's very doable. Okay. So the next step is to organize the list into a daily bite-sized plan. Okay. Again, going back to the 2 books, they're 12 chapters each. He's got 2 months. He's going to do a book a month, which you divide that. You got 12 chapters. You divide it by 4 weeks, usually 4 weeks in a month. So it's 3 chapters a week. So he needs to either read a chapter Monday, Wednesday, or Friday. They're not huge chapters. But if it was a huge chapter, then maybe do half a chapter per day. So that is up to you. But what you do, and what happens a lot of times, is we see these humongous lists that come our way. And I don't know about you, but a lot of times if I have a humongous to-do list, or I see a very, very large project, I freeze and I panic and I don't know what to do looking at this humongous list. And when all I really need to do is just kind of break it down into very smaller pieces. My dad always said, how do you eat an elephant? Well, you eat it 1 bite at a time. It's the same exact thing. So when you get a large project, you just break it down. Okay. Procrastination. Okay. Oh, and also really quickly, going back to that, breaking it down into going to summer reading and break it down into chapters. When you're working at school and stuff, and also working at homework, or, anytime that you would be working during the summer, you may want to find out when your most focused hours are. Some people work really well in the mornings. They are morning workers. They get up and they just knock it out. They're very, very focused. That's their most creative time. Some people are evening, they're more focused and stuff in the evening. I'll be honest with you, I've noticed this. It wasn't the case when I was younger, but as I've gotten a little bit older, I prefer evenings. I get so much done between 8 and 10 o'clock at night. It's incredible, because that's where my brain, bless it, just wakes up during that time. And so I can kind of function a little bit better. I can think a little more clearly. So for you, it's just figure out what times you are the most productive. Those are the times you're going to probably want to try to knock some of that stuff out. But that's a lot of times people don't know when that is. And so you'll go into working on a project, it's on a Saturday and you need to work on a project, and you've decided you're going to work on it at 10 a.m. and that your brain may not be awake at 10 a.m. So just kind of figure out when you're your most productive and when you're the most focused. Number 6, start now. Procrastination is the foundation of all disasters. The one at the top says procrastinators unite tomorrow. But basically the procrastination cycle, and I love this one, but you procrastinate on something, you feel guilty about it. So you wrestle with feeling bad. Then you panic. Then you make excuses. Then you procrastinate. Then you feel guilty. Then you panic. It's a vicious cycle. So the main thing to get out of the procrastination mode is, once you make your to-do list, or you break down your large projects, your ugliest frog, into bite-sized pieces, start to work on that list. Start tonight. Stop giving out mental real estate for free. And what I mean by that is, if you've had something that you've needed to start working on, or it doesn't even have to be a project. It could be something like you've needed to make a phone call, or you've needed to clean your bathroom, something like that. You've needed to do these things and you keep putting it off. Let's go to cleaning something. You keep putting it off, cleaning out from under your bed. You keep putting it off until the dust bunnies are coming out with teeth. You just keep putting it off and putting it off. What happens is you'll walk past that, you'll walk past your bed, or you walk past the basket of laundry that's sitting in your room or on your bed, and you will look at that. And what that does is you'll feel either a little bit bad about it or guilty about it, or maybe you won't, like it'll lessen over time, but it will still take up space in your mind to where you're giving it a thought, when honestly that brain space can be used to do so many other things. So it's just easier to take care of that issue and do whatever you need to do, but you might not want to do. You keep putting it off. Like, just go ahead and do it and free up that mind space for you to accomplish something else and for something else to live and grow there. Again, look at your list, do something, anything, do it immediately. The summer, going back to the summer reading, that's been my example tonight. Start a chapter tonight, cleaning your closet, go through the top shelf tonight, do something tonight to take care of some of this stuff. One of the key things on that is accountability. Tell somebody about it. Say, listen, this is something that has been weighing on me. I need to get this project done. I am telling you because once I tell you and I bring it into the light, like then it's out there. Like somebody else knows. It's not just me keeping it hidden. Like somebody else knows about it. And then you say these words, please remind me through text or conversation until I text you and I told you that I have completed this task. And you can't get mad if you tell somebody that and tell them and you make them accountable. You can't get mad at them if they continue to ask you because you told them and gave them permission. So, but it helps somebody, it brings somebody else in. So, you know, if I don't do that, somebody's going to ask me about that and I'm going to have to tell them no. So just go ahead and take care of it. But it's a really good point. It's just to make somebody else, bring them in on it so they know and they can hold you accountable for that. Okay. Almost done. Let's go to this one. Number 7, resist the temptation to clear up the small stuff first. In the South, my granddaddy, love him, used to say, I'd ask my grandma, I'd say, what's grandpa doing today? She said, oh, he's just piddling. This is what piddling is. Doing nonsense, not doing anything that's going to get you any closer to your goal or anything accomplished today. He'd be out working in the yard, organizing his toolbox, organizing his fishing lures. Like, this is what it is, like it's piddling. So, and you're thinking, oh, that's really funny for a little old man. Okay, we all got our piddle stuff. Right now, I can ask you to pull up your phone, go to your screen time. You know, I'm going there. Go to your screen time on your phone and see how many hours you spent on YouTube or Netflix or Peacock or Hulu or the 50 zillion TikTok, all the ones that are there. That is sucking up your life. Is it bad? Is it wrong? No. Are you kidding me? Like, listen, I love to sit and watch a movie and do whatever, but I know I'm put this on there because I know for myself, if I start on any type of social media, I'm gone. Like, I am down the rabbit hole and you will find me looking at the Labrador pictures because all of a sudden I have to have a black Labrador. Like, I just get sucked into this stuff and I've wasted an hour. So what you want to do is whenever you have your to-do list and you've broken down your projects and you know what your big rocks are and you know what your ugliest frogs are that you've got to eat and you're going to work on something, you'll have a list of stuff. What you don't want to do is knock off the little stuff. Like you're going to want to make sure that you are diving right into the biggest projects first, because as soon as you knock those off, you're going to feel, number one, so much better. You're going to feel so good about yourself and they won't roll over on tomorrow's list. So resist the temptation and clear up the small stuff first. Learn to say no to the things that are not priority. Time wasters that do not get you closer to your goals. All the stuff I just listed. Looking at puppy pictures, whatever it is for you. Be real about where your time is going. Again, like if you've not had that moment where you have checked like how much time you've wasted on whatever, like you've not screen timed and saw how much time you're wasting, you need to have that moment. It will shock you. It's very, it's a little surreal and sobering. Be real about where your time is going. Set boundaries. When you get real about where your time is going, during that time that you're working, set boundaries, like use the app limits on your phone so that you don't, or shut it off or do whatever, or put it in another room or something. So that time that you're working on a project, you are not tempted. And before I get to the set boundaries with others, I'm going to come back to that in a minute. I know for me, when I go to write or work, I have an office. I close my office door. I have a sign on my office door that says, I have one side that says, do not come in unless you are bleeding or you have coffee. The other side says that I am on an hour. What that means is, because I give myself hour time blocks. When it says I am on an hour, like nobody comes in, because if I get distracted from that hour, even if it's somebody come in and say, oh, I just have this quick question about whatever, it's very difficult for me to get back in a creative space. So it says on an hour. What that means for me is, for that 1 hour time period, I do not check my phone. I turn off whatever I need to turn off. My phone goes out of my office. I make sure that actually, because I'm writing, so I disconnect, like I unhook the internet from my computer. Like I kind of disconnect from the Wi-Fi at my computer, because I'll be tempted to look up a word or a meaning of a word, and that'll lead to something else. So I don't do that. So I disconnect from that. I don't check my email. Like people are like, that's severe. Oh, it's an hour. I can survive without checking my email for an hour. Like everybody's gonna be fine. So like, I don't do any of that. Like I just focus on the task at hand. If I need to look up a meaning for a word because I don't understand it, they have these books called dictionaries and thesauruses, and they're actually come in a book form. It's amazing. Like, so I actually look it up old school, and that's how I figure out a different word. So I don't try to do it on my phone or whatever. Again, rabbit hole, puppy pictures. So like, I set those boundaries for myself, and you have to figure out what's going to work for you. Okay. Set boundaries with others as far as saying no to things that maybe they want you to do. This does not mean teachers. This does not mean anything that anybody who's an authority or anything like that. Like, this means if a friend has a party or whatever, and maybe you didn't get the stuff done that you said you were going to get done, or you committed to, then, and all of a sudden they have like an impromptu, hey, it's like they suddenly decide they want to have a bunch of people over. Well, I mean, that might be something you have to say no to. Like, that might be something that you turn down, or, and it could be something good. Like maybe, like where we go to church, a lot of the kids ministry and stuff, they ask the teens to kind of help in it or something like that. So like, they might ask my son to help in it. Well, it's a very good thing, but if he hasn't checked off the stuff on his like to-do list, then he might have to, like, he needs to say no to that to be able to get further to what he needs to get accomplished. It's a very good thing, but like learning how to say no to those things to make sure that you are accomplishing the things on your list, if that makes sense. Okay. Number 9, make time management a habit now. I promise you, the younger that you start it, it will set you apart in the workplace. You go into a job with a solid work habit and with incredible time management skills, and I promise you, you will be promoted faster than anybody else who does not have those skills, because they're going to see that like you can get the stuff done. A lot of people talk about getting the stuff done. You be a person that actually gets the stuff done. And in order to do that, you have to be able to manage yourself, which is managing your time. Okay. Last thing. Let's practice. Do we have a time to practice? Okay. I want you right now, you probably don't have paper with you. Does anybody have paper with them? I just thought about that. Some people have paper. Okay, hold on, I'm gonna stop share. Okay, there we go. A few people, I see a whole bunch of girls, nobody has paper. Okay, okay, some people do. What I want you to do, the ones that have paper, ladies, I'm gonna get back to you. Ones that have paper, I want you to make your to-do list for tomorrow. I want you to make your to-do list for tomorrow. It's summer. Think of something to do. Think of something. Think of something. Somebody's got to do this. Somebody has got to. They're holding up to-do list right now, and one is highlighted because they are speaking my love language. Okay, so ladies, what you're going to do, because you are sitting there and you have no paper, you're going to do the accountability one. So I want you to look at somebody. I'm looking at the 2 girls right in front and the 2 girls right in the back. Wave if you can hear me. And the 2, I see one on the side. I can see you. You're not hiding. So what I want you to do is think of one thing that you've been putting off. What an ugly frog. I mean, it is nasty, ugly frog. And I want you to tell somebody, hey, listen, I need to get this accomplished. Hold me accountable. Do you have questions on that? No? Okay. So turn to your friend, a neighbor, and say, listen, I need to clean out from under my bed. I need to do something. Like, I need to do whatever. And I want you to hold me accountable until I come to you and I tell you, I did that job. I did that task. Okay. So y'all work on that one. Everybody else is doing your to-do list, right? Okay. So I know that that was a lot of information. But I hope that maybe you got something from that, and maybe it's something very practical that you can use going into the next school year. I don't even know what grade everybody, like y'all look like high schoolers. Are y'all high schoolers? Yes. Yes. We have like one college kid. How many college kids do we have on? Do we have any college kids? Yeah. Okay. So that is just something that like, I really think that it'll help you guys. It'll help you to get ahead. It'll help you kind of organize yourself in your life. I've lost the whole Poindexter cottage. I've lost them. Anyway, well, with that, I am done. Thank you so much for having me, Sandy. I really appreciate it. You guys have a good one. Have a great summer. And if you've not started, and here's the thing, the to-do lists are wonderful, and I'm glad you made them. And Katie, I'm really glad that you did the color-coded one. That makes me happy. When we get off the call tonight, I want you to start on something. The ones that told the other one, the accountability ones that said, hey, I've got this project, I want you to start on something tonight. And so, and if you have summer reading, read a chapter. With your chapter. And with that, I'm going to turn it back over to Sandy. If there's questions and stuff, you can do this.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Robin. That was phenomenal. I know I got a lot of nuggets from that. I hope that you guys did too. Do you have any questions for Miss Robin with anything that she covered? No?
Oh, I have one. I have Allie.
Oh, I didn't even see your hand, Allie. Sorry, go ahead.
So I was told that if you make a list of things to do before bed, like in the evening, you'll be really stressed when you go to bed and it'll be harder to go to bed. So would it be like make more sense to do it like in the morning or like late afternoon?
You could do it in late afternoon. My thing, I like to do it, and nothing stresses me at bedtime. Like I'm pretty tired. I'm gone. But if that is the case, and I'll also be honest with you, when I make out my to-do list, I feel like it releases it from my mind and I know it's on paper. And I always had a college professor too that said, keep a pad of paper by your bed, because if you're tossing and turning over stuff, you can have something to write it down and let it go. Like once it's written down, my mind is no longer responsible for it. It is the paper now has it, now owns it. If that is stressing you out, then maybe do it in the evening hours. Sometimes they say before bed, because in the morning, I guess you can in the morning. As soon as I get up, I like to know what my list is. Like, I know that like everybody's feet hit the floor and I get pulled into stuff, and if I'm not organized, being pulled into stuff, then I'm going to be in a million different directions. So I prefer to do it that. If it works better for you, listen, if it's whatever's going to work better for you, then that's the way that you need to go. But, I just like to be fresh in the morning and stuff. But if it's stressing you out, then yeah, do it at 8 o'clock, and add to it if other stuff comes on it. So yeah, that's a good question though.
Yeah, that is. It also could be on something on your to-do list is to get up super early and make your to-do list. That could be the number one thing on your to-do list, maybe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And and the thing too, is if you're really productive in the mornings, if you're really, really productive, like when I had really small kids, then I got up really early in the mornings to knock some stuff out, because that was the time that it was quiet. That was the time that kind of was my own. And so I just knocked that stuff out. So if that is your most productive time and you are really good at being focused on that kind of stuff, then just make sure, get up an hour early, and then maybe, do your list then, and then start working on your stuff. The thing is to write a list. So many times we might write in a calendar a big day or something that we have coming up, but we do not make a list of the actual things that we need to get accomplished that day. And so our days slip through our fingers like sand. So we just want to make sure that we're limiting that. Anybody else? No?
I have a quick one.
Yeah.
I recently started, I had paper calendar and I switched over to Google Calendar because it's always with me. Can you share some pros and cons? I know you mentioned writing it down crystallizes it, and you might have shared some more that I missed. Well, I was taking notes. Do you know of any other off the top of your head, maybe any other pros and cons of keeping a paper calendar versus a virtual calendar, so to speak?
I will be honest, the way that my mind works, and I used to do this to memorize things too in college and in high school. If I write it down, there's something about my brain when I write it down that I remember it. Because I remember sitting down and having to memorize the Gettysburg Address and writing that thing out. And for some reason, as I wrote it down and I was seeing it, I was reading it back to myself. So it stuck in my brain more than if you keep it on like your phone and your calendar like that. Again, that is a preference. Like I said, I do whatever works for you. I'll be honest with you. When I go into a grocery store, I use the list app on my phone because I'm going to have my phone with me. I cannot even tell you how many times I've taken that piece of paper and I have left it in the parking lot amongst the people. So that's it's gone forever. It's gone forever. But I have my phone with me. Here's the thing too, and that's just like lists and stuff. I like being able to cross things off of paper and pen. That's just, there's something about that just works for me. I will tell you that I use my phone. I work on an alarm system too. So if you have something important that you need to get done and it needs to be done, like this meeting, my phone went off 30 minutes before time to let me know that it was going to happen. So I work off alarm systems. I do a little bit of both, but I always have a list in front of me because I know I don't know, it's tangible and I can see it and it works better. If you need to do it on your iPad, if you need to do it on your phone or whatever, and that works better, then you can do that as well. But just the way that my brain works, I don't know, I write it down and I can remember it. And there's also the satisfaction of doing that. But again, I'm old school and I carry it with me a lot of different places and stuff. So I also have it in case I ever need to add to it and different things like that. So, and you can also, and the great thing is if I'm going out or whatever, I don't want to carry that with me. I can screenshot it. I can take a picture and take it with me and be like, okay, this is the different things that I need to talk to you about. Because if I need to talk to somebody about it, or if I need to sit down and have a meeting with somebody, I have bullet points of what I need to do. And a lot of times it's different when I'm trying to do that on my phone, where I have a piece of paper and I have bullet points where, okay, listen, we need to handle this, and this. So you guys are really young, so you guys haven't gotten into that yet, but you will. So it's just easier. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Do we have any other questions? No? Okay. It was very informative. That's probably why there aren't any questions. Also, they're probably processing all the information you shared. I loved the PowerPoint. Thank you so much for sharing with us tonight, Robin. We greatly appreciated it and your time. Really quick, I want to let you guys know that next week we have Miss Jessica Perkins coming. She has been a teacher and childcare worker for 20 plus years, but she's going to come and talk to us about childcare. And what that entails is if you ever want to babysit, if you ever want to work in childcare, if you ever have a child, if you have a younger sibling you have to help take care of. She's going to cover a little bit on each of those, all of those topics to help you feel more comfortable working with younger children. So if any of those apply to you in any way, shape, or form, please make sure you come back and join us next Tuesday, same time, same place, 7 p.m. And thank you so much, all of you, for being here tonight.
Thank you, guys. It was good spending this hour with you guys.
Absolutely. So I'm going to say have a good night, and I hope to see you next week. Thank you again, Robin.
You're welcome. I'll see you guys later. Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Bye, y'all. Bye.